oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying gender is fluid, language is fluid. Yes, and Latino voters are fluid. And then there's abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hold up.
It's been almost a year since Bill Maher kicked off his relentless campaign against the so-called woke movement. And spoiler, he shows no signs of slowing down. His newest target? None other than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's been crisscrossing the nation like a progressive tour guide, spreading her message. But Maher isn't buying it. As usual, hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. Bill Maher isn't afraid to ask the tough questions.
I see a new poll reporting how much Latinos despise the woke term Latinx. It's about as popular with them as a reboot of Speedy Gonzales. Even the country's oldest Latino civil rights group came out against it, yet AOC keeps defending it, saying,
Here's how it all kicked off. Bill Maher did what he does best, asking the questions nobody else dares to. This time, his sights were set on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her relentless push for a far-left agenda, one that, let's be honest, is losing favor with many everyday Americans. Maher asked the obvious question: why keep championing a political philosophy that so many see as divisive, out of touch, or downright toxic? Most people might pause, rethink, maybe even adjust, but not AOC. She's convinced she's on the moral high ground, ready to push her vision of progress, whether the country's ready or not. But here's the kicker: Maher doesn't stop there. What comes next isn't just critique, it's a full-on verbal takedown, a no-holds-barred demolition that leaves zero room for spin or social media damage control. You'll want to catch every second. Things are about to get intense.
Abortion, a difficult issue for the Democrats to lose on, but they're trying. For decades, liberals have said if only men could get pregnant, this wouldn't even be an issue. And abortion rights are women's rights. Well, that's wrong now. Or as the kids say, hold up. When the wokey end of the progressive spectrum talks about abortion now, they shy away from that word, women, and prefer terms like birthing people or people who menstruate, because somewhere there's a trans man who's pregnant, and I say good for him, and I'll be looking for his story somewhere in a future issue of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
And that, right there, is the hill the Democrats decided to die on, defining what a woman is. Just 10 years ago, this wasn't even a question. Everyone knew the basics. A woman is someone who menstruates, can get pregnant, and can give birth. Simple biology, not ideology. Then came the progressive overhaul. Suddenly, gender became fluid, men could be women, and questioning it labeled you a bigot. Most Americans weren't buying it. They asked straightforward, honest questions, and instead of answers, they got lectures, cancel culture, and condescension from elite enclaves and liberal strongholds. While the left doubled down on its definitions, the rest of the country quietly tuned out. The result? One of the most devastating electoral losses the Democratic Party has faced in recent memory. Not because people were hateful, but because they were done being told reality was offensive. Democrats didn't just lose votes, they lost trust.
More of them now than ever are identifying as Republican. So are Asian Americans, whose support for Democrats is down 16 points since the last election. A lot of that is because, in the name of achieving equity in schools, Democrats in deep blue cities have made it a mission to eliminate the advanced programs at which Asian kids excel. Asian parents said, okay, I wish all kids well, not a racist, but I need someone who acts like my lawyer.
And that's exactly what happens when you keep cornering people. They push back, and not always the way you expect. AOC and her party strutted through deep blue states like they held a political blank check. Untouchable, unquestionable, unstoppable. They assumed they could roll out any radical policy they wanted, confident their base would follow them off any ideological cliff. But they seriously miscalculated. What they didn't anticipate was the quiet rebellion. Voters who once cheered for them flipped faster than a casino coin. And where did they go? Straight into the arms of the Republicans, the same people AOC spent years demonizing. This wasn't a gradual shift. It was seismic. Overnight, allies became skeptics, and what was once a safe Democratic stronghold began showing cracks, big ones. Now the question hangs in the air. Is this just a bump in the road for AOC, or the start of a political earthquake that could shake everything she's built? Stay tuned, because Maher's next line, my lawyer, might just be checkmate.
85% Latino congressional district on the border with Mexico, which had always voted heavily Democratic, flipped to the red team. And the campaign manager for the losing Democrat said, "We gave up a reliably Democratic congressional seat for no reason at all. We deserve to know why." Well, aside from your terrible attitude, I'm going to tell you why. Because these voters stopped seeing your candidate as their...
If you've been wondering why Maher keeps dropping phrases like my lawyer and their lawyer, don't worry, it's not some courtroom drama. It's political theater. What Maher is really saying is simple, but brutally honest. Voters expect their elected officials to fight for them, to be our lawyer, not the opposition's. And here's where it gets messy. AOC and her progressive allies seem to have completely missed that memo. Instead of standing up for the people, they've been fighting against them, lecturing, posturing, and pushing agendas that leave voters asking, whose side are you even on? Maher isn't just pointing it out, he's building a case, jab by jab, exposing the widening gap between what voters want and what their so-called representatives are actually doing. The irony? AOC talks like she's defending the underdog, but in this courtroom of public opinion, she's starting to look like the one on trial. And when Maher delivers the closing argument, trust me, it won't be pretty. Stick around. The verdict is coming, and it could shake the whole house.
Wanted schools to reopen a lot sooner than they did after COVID shutdowns, or think maybe your kid is getting a bad education partly because it's nearly impossible to fire a lousy teacher? Yeah, you're going to say, congratulations, teachers, you got yourself a good lawyer. The Democratic Party's always got your back, 100%. But I've noticed my kid is kind of an idiot. So I may be looking for new representation.
It wasn't just Latino voters that AOC and her progressive allies managed to alienate. They also set fire to something even more sacred, our education system. And the fallout? Let's just say it's far from an A+ report card. A few years ago, the Biden administration, cheered on by the far left, pushed policies that made it much harder to fire underperforming teachers. Sounds noble on paper, right? In reality, it tied administrators' hands across the country, and the results were brutal. Student outcomes plummeted. According to the nation's report card, average math scores for 13-year-olds dropped 9 points between 2020 and 2023, the largest decline in half a century. Reading scores fell by 4 points. Meanwhile, the teachers responsible were protected like national treasures. So while AOC rallies crowds with lofty slogans and Bernie Sanders recycles the same class warfare rhetoric, parents are staring at their kids' report cards asking one simple question: what happened? This isn't just a policy stumble, it's a generational disaster. Which brings us to the burning question: does the Sanders AOC ticket even have a shot at helping the DNC reclaim power? Or are they steering the party straight into academic and electoral detention? Stick around, because Maher's next verbal takedown might just be the final exam. Spoiler, they are not ready.
Biden wants to cancel hundreds of billions of dollars in student debt. Okay, but the poorer 2/3 of American kids who don't get a college degree are going to say, why should the people who didn't go to college and make less money subsidize the people who did go and make more? You want me to chip in so some liberal arts college can build a bigger rock wall? You're not my lawyer. A universal basic income probably sounds pretty good to a lot of people struggling without a college degree. And a number of cities have been running pilot programs in guaranteed income. But the West Hollywood program had to be suspended because it was unconstitutional. They set up a program where 25 residents were to get $1,000 for 18 months, but only a few identified as LGBT, the rest of that. Why? Because they need money more than any other people? Because no one in West Hollywood will hire a gay person?
Sometimes when I sit back and take a good hard look at some of the policies the Democrats tried to push but failed at so spectacularly, I honestly can't help but laugh my head off. And I'm not talking about little bureaucratic stumbles. I mean full-blown policy faceplants. That would be funny if they weren't so painfully real. Take the whole defund the police fiasco. Yeah, that went well until crime shot up in major cities, and even the people who championed it started quietly backpedaling. Or how about the rent cancellation crusade that sounded great in a college dorm room but collapsed under the weight of, basic economics? And don't get me started on the push to eliminate standardized testing in schools because apparently holding students accountable is now oppressive. As Maher would say, it's like the Democrats are playing a game of how can we lose the middle in 10 easy steps, and they are winning by losing. And the punchline is these same geniuses think they deserve another shot at running the country. This is the kind of political theater you can't make up. And Maher isn't letting them off the hook anytime soon.
And in 2020, Bernie Sanders said he would legalize marijuana on his first day as president, but that the business of selling pot would be awarded first to those who suffered most from the drug war. And you know what? I can't argue with that instinct. The drug war has been a horrendous instrument of prejudice and punishment for racial minorities, so it seems fair that they jumped the line for weed franchises the way Indians did for casinos. But it's also what's holding up Republican support for legalizing weed nationally, which would be good for everybody. And these are the hard, practical choices the Democrats have to weigh. Redress the past, or reach out to the gettable white voter who says, you know what, I'd like a shot at getting in the pot business. But to do that, our entire audience. But to do that, I'm going to need a good lawyer who fights for me.
Bill Maher makes a razor-sharp point, and it's one worth paying attention to. If Democrats seriously want to claw their way back to power, tweeting slogans and riding moral high horses won't cut it. They have to face their past mistakes head-on. And here's the radical idea. Actually talk to the people they've ignored for years. Not talk at them. Not guess their problems from an air-conditioned office in DC, but sit down, face-to-face, and listen, without judgment, without buzzwords. Because assuming what people need based on polling data or think tank theories is exactly how they lost them in the first place. Maher isn't saying sell out, he's saying reconnect and rebuild trust. Otherwise, they are just shouting into an echo chamber, and the very voters they need most have already walked out the door. Time's ticking. The question is, will they wise up before it's too late?
All these issues, the wavering voter is saying to her lawyer, the Democratic Party, hey, so happy for you that you have so many other clients and that you care so much about their problems and all the pro bono work you do. But you're supposed to be my lawyer. The Democrats need to be like the lawyers you see on billboards. You hurt, we fight.
Bill Maher didn't just roast the Democrats. He held up a mirror. From ignoring voters to twisting basic truths, the party has wandered so far off course, it barely recognizes the people it claims to represent. While Maher lands punchlines, he's also delivering gut punches, exposing failures in policy, communication, and plain old common sense. If Democrats want any shot at redemption, it won't come from doubling down on delusion. It will come from listening, adjusting, and reconnecting with reality. Because if they don't, voters won't just walk away, they'll slam the door behind them. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.